Fat Dag is a Weight Watchers leader in Indianapolis, Indiana. However, the views and opinions expressed during this podcast are his own. They do not represent the views of Weight Watchers. And now, here's your host and wingman, Fat Dag.
I am your host, Fat Dag. You're listening to Wise Advice. My weight loss journey failed when I focused on how. It wasn't until I switched my focus to why that I truly transformed myself. Join the show on the web at fatdag.com and follow along on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all at Wise Advice. Send in your comments, your questions, your celebrations. I'll include them as part of the show. But before we dive in, remember, when you're out of points, stop eating points. Hey, I'm honored to be your wingman as we walk through this journey together because I believe in you. Well, hello there. Welcome to episode 212 of Wise Advice, and always fun to hang out with you guys live on Facebook just before the show. You guys make this stuff fun. You know, I look at the download numbers in the app, and I see those who are, I don't know, right now about 130, 120 or so folks watching online as we do the show live. Jason just joined in on Instagram. It's so fun to do the show live. I turn around and look at the download numbers, and of course, many of you are certainly just strictly downloading the podcast at your convenience, and you're not tuning into the live show. But I think it's two separate dynamics. Those of us who join in the live show, we have a little community. We have our own little group where we all come in. We say hi to each other. Jason says he's back. Anna's saying hi to Anna, and Lee's here, and it's just a cool community where people are just chatting back and forth as we do the live show. I would encourage you, if you haven't already, go to Facebook, go to Instagram, follow me on YouTube. You can watch the show live most nights. Twitter does the best job of notifying you when the show is going to be live. I keep the calendar updated there. But certainly you can find the rerun. You can find the podcast anywhere you can find a podcast. The best way is to just go right to the App Store. Go to your App Store, search Wise Advice for Fat Dag, download the app, and when you get the app, that's the number one way for you to certainly consume the content. Outside of that, you can catch it on Spotify, iHeartRadio. I'm trying to think of all the places, Stitcher Radio, anywhere you can find a podcast. We certainly are there, and welcome to all of you. A lot of new folks joining in. I just saw on YouTube, it says hi from Dallas, and is for Nurse checking in. So what a fun community, but let's dive right into this. I want to get this information out to you. I always appreciate when you guys write in. The stories that you share are truly incredible. It's the number one reason why this show becomes successful, because you've written in to let other people know how awesome you're doing, and then they believe at that point that they can be awesome as well. And that's the coolest part of this whole journey. So out of Illinois, Lynette opens the show. She says, "Hey, dear Fat Dag / Mike, I told myself I would send you a message when I lost 50 pounds. Well, it happened. I reached that goal 2 weeks ago. I was so happy. I rewarded myself with a star charm for my Pandora bracelet. I have set up similar rewards for myself for Wonderland, 75 pounds, 100 pounds, and then goal. I've struggled with weight and low self-esteem issues for a very long time. I come from a family where a lot of our family members struggle with weight. I remember being called fatso in kindergarten, and that stuck with me for a very long time. Kids can be so mean. Back in 1990, I lost 65 pounds on Nutrisystem. I kept it off for a few years, but then after 3 miscarriages, a house fire, and having a husband that enjoys food, I started to gain weight. I don't know how many times I joined Weight Watchers, but each time I did, I lost weight, but I never reached lifetime. I rejoined in the summer of 2016. I worked the program and lost the amount of weight that I needed to lose for my health insurance plan. Then Christmas came and I gained weight. Every year, the Christmas season has been a struggle, but I'm happy to say that 2017 was a better year. I continue to go to Weight Watcher meetings, but really I wasn't working the plan up until last October. I needed to lose the stated amount of weight for my health insurance plan again. I made that goal, and my Weight Watcher leader asked me what my next goal was. She said to keep going. About that time, I finally discovered Connect, and then I discovered you and your podcast. Your podcast and the fact that you believe in us has helped me immensely. When I hear or read about people successfully losing 100 pounds or more, it gives me hope that I will also have great success and I will eventually make it to lifetime. I have 58 more pounds to lose, but like many others, I believe this time is different and I will eventually get there. Slow and steady wins the race. Thank you so much for your concern and your care for all of us. You have a big heart, Lynette. And then she says, P.S. I will let you know when I reach Wonderland. Lynette, what a cool email. I can't wait to hear when you get into Wonderland, and congratulations on your 50-pound loss. Incredible focus to get you to this point. Clearly, you've gone through some of life's bigger hurdles, bigger challenges, and you've made it through. And I'm proud of you for sticking with it. That's what this is all about. I had a conversation earlier this evening, and I said, we did a survey. 100% of the people, 100% of the people who made goal did it by not quitting. It's quite simple. If you just don't quit and you continue to make progress, that is how you win. But as soon as you quit, then that takes that goal off the table. The prize is no longer available to you. So that is the game set that we're in now, is just strictly working to do that. Congratulations on your first 50. One of the things I thought was really interesting as I looked through your email, the piece that really made me it jumped off the paper for me is back in 1990, you lost 65 pounds on Nutrisystem. Well, think about this for a second. If you have a different level of success going. You can lose weight with Weight Watchers. You can lose weight with Nutrisystem. So think about this. The secret ingredient is you. Yeah. So really, it doesn't matter what tool you use. You have the opportunity to make sure you can use whatever tool you need to get to whatever goal you set. I want you to dig into that. You have that with you. Own it. And say, actually, this is me. It's not the program. The program's great, by the way, right? Both programs do very well. But the secret ingredient, the secret sauce, is you getting it done, and that is the piece I want you to celebrate. I want you to know that part. As you continue to work this plan, I want you to know that you're the one doing it. You're the one making it happen. You're out there day in, day out, making the right choice to do that. Very, very proud of you for doing that. Now, go all the way back to kindergarten. It's funny how our brains remember this stuff. It's how my name, Fat Dag, sticks around. Obviously, you were called Fatso in kindergarten. It's terrible. Early on in my military career, I was given the nickname Fat Dag. And so what I've done is the same thing that you've done. Is I've said, yeah, people can be mean. Kids can be mean. But man, how fun is it now where I can say, no, that's my name. I own it. You can call me whatever you want at that point, but the reality is I've completely changed my life, and all you have in that world is words to throw at me. I've completely changed my life and just continued to do the amazing things that you're doing, and that's what makes this whole thing work. You're absolutely right, and the podcast is so incredibly inspiring because in the Facebook group, the Wise Wingman group, you see so many people posting stories of their amazing transformation and their amazing success. And when you see other people having the success, and then you read about the rest of their life and you see other things they're going through, it simply lets you know that, okay, what I'm trying to accomplish has been done. That's the coolest part about this journey is I'm not asking you to do anything that hasn't been done before. Countless times this has been done. To find the amount of people who've lost 100 pounds or more on the planet, sure, it's a small group of people, but the reality is there are so many people who have done this, and that should give you hope. Not only that, it gives you a roadmap, and it gives you someone to say, okay, if they can do it, I can do it. It's why it's very important to share, because every single person is at a different part in this journey, and we all need to let other people know that this can be done, that what we're doing is doable. Once you learn that, I mean, you think about, I'm going really on a tangent here, but once you think about like the very first time someone put an airplane in the air, then everyone else said, oh, well, if it's doable, let's improve on that. So that's what you're after, is I'm just trying to get you to see what you're trying to do is completely doable, and I want you to get it done. Congratulations again on the 50 pounds lost, and let's hear when you get to Wonderland. That'll be an amazing celebration, certainly right in at that point. Other people need to understand and hear what it's like crossing that major threshold in a weight loss journey. It's incredibly inspiring. So keep up the amazing work for sure. Out of Georgia, joining us live on Facebook as well, Anna writes in. She says, hello, Fat Dag. Hey, I've been wanting to write this email for a long time. I had the amazing opportunity of meeting you at the first stop of your international tour in Biloxi back in April. I keep a powerful memory of you running with me the last stretch of the 5K. You're pointing out the finish line and telling me, can you see that clock out there? Yes, that's the finish line. You can do this. Yes, you can do this. You were sure that I continued running till I crossed the finish line. The same way I'm running now, so I keep my goal in mind. You reinforced in me that you believed in me, and so I believed in myself. I did then, and I do now. Thanks so much, Mike. I wanted to share and celebrate that I've been back at Lifetime for 6 months now, thanks to you. I had reached goal 3 times in the past, but I never kept it off for this long. I made the mistake of thinking that I was able to do it on my own, and I got complacent, and I gained some of the weight back. This time has been so different. Your podcast made it possible because of all the support, the motivation, the inspiration that I received from listening to you, and the stories of the fellow Weight Watcher members, the amazing Wise Wingman Facebook group, as well as Connect. There is something that has been over and over in my mind the last few days since I listened to episode 207, where you told us everything comes down to setting habits. The habits we do every single day, are they working for us or working against us? Then you encourage us to find them and what we do every single day, things that we put on autopilot, and then access them. What you wanted us to do is change the habits that are working against us and develop them into habits that work for us. Well, then last night I went to my Weight Watcher meeting, and the subject was about habits as well. So I feel compelled to write to you. I remember reading The Power of Habit book by Dr. Charles Duhigg a few months ago. As a matter of fact, the Weekly mentions this amazing book. I learned that the habit loop, cue, routine, reward, and how to crave the reward, choose the right cue, do the routine, and get it done. I strongly recommend this book. I've learned that motivation itself is not enough. We need to create good, healthy habits to stay disciplined and focused. When motivation fades, the good, healthy habits will kick in, and they will keep us going. I wish everybody would take the time to access their habits. After all, we create habits, and then our habits become us. Thank you, Fat Dag. I will see you in February in Atlanta. You promised, Anna. Atlanta coming up. We'll probably make a 2019 stop in Atlanta. That is on the radar, absolutely for sure. It is a promise that I made that I fully intend to keep. We'll see how that comes and goes when you get to February. Let's talk about you. Back at Lifetime, first 6 months. Congratulations on that. How cool is that, where you now say, okay, I'm now entering a new part of my journey, a place that maybe I haven't previously been before. It was such a fun opportunity to kick off the international tour in Biloxi, Ocean Springs specifically. And, it's one of those, that first race, I had no idea what to expect. And I just knew that I wanted to run a 5K, and I just, a bunch of you signed up online and said, I'm going to go check this out and see if we can build something here. The coolest thing that happened from that race is certainly the relationships that you develop by meeting people that you haven't met before. We bring people together for a common goal, and then you meet each other. You get to know each other in your own area, and then I pull out of town, and then you stay there and go, okay, I have friends here that are going to help me on this journey. And it was so fun running with each and every one of you. You're right, and I kept pointing out the finish line. I'm a big believer in finish lines have a place in this journey. So as we are running it, it's important to know where we're going to stop. That way, at what point do I need to push a little harder? At what point do I need to conserve some energy? At what point do I need to balance my life differently? Because I need to know when this journey ends. Now, as you saw, we crossed the finish line of success. We crossed the 5K. We had an amazing race. I turned around and ran another race. So just because we crossed that finish line doesn't mean the journey was over. It meant that race was over. So that race was very, very powerful in this entire thing. And I'm glad that you end up crossing it with me as well. Keep doing all the amazing things that you're doing back at Lifetime for 6 months. Don't make the mistake this time. Now that you recognize it and own it, that you're getting complacent and say, maybe I can do this on my own. I think so many of us have had that same thought where we just want to get to the point where we just kind of feel normal, right? We want to say, I want to fit in, and we believe that normal, which doesn't exist, by the way, but we believe that normal is someone who is in complete control of their entire life. They eat whatever they want, and they just simply don't gain weight. Well, that is not how we are going to operate. So many people want to get to goal, and when you get there, they want to just go back to their old life. It's very critical at this point that as you are working towards your goal, that you do develop habits that you can put on autopilot. And so, here you guys know this. My day is completely scheduled. We're doing this show tonight. This is my third job of the day. Went to work in the morning, worked all day, did my Weight Watcher leader meeting tonight, and then certainly the podcast. So this is my third job today. I relied very much on autopilot today. There were parts of my day, and it was absolutely great. Breakfast was 4 points, and lunch was I had a grilled chicken sandwich, which is 0. The bun was probably 4, and a fruit cup, so a very light lunch. And then on the way home, my habit is I do one or two things. I either hit Chick-fil-A on the way home from work for my Weight Watcher meeting, or I hit Jimmy John's on the way as well. Jimmy John's, I take a sub. The habit is I take the sub, I order it, I cut it in half, I have them scoop the bread out, I move the meat to one side, it ends up being a 7-point sandwich. So having those habits, things that I do every single time, got me to the point today where it completely saved me, because of knowing that I wanted to do a show tonight. If I didn't have a healthy habit built in, I would have had to then come home, look for something to eat quickly, and I wouldn't have been prepared properly. That's why I want you to build these habits in, is because when you get to the point in your life where you become busy, I want you to be able to fall back on a healthy version of you that just does what you need to do so you can focus on the things you need to do next. That's what the routine is. Your routine will save you if it's a good routine. If your routine is not healthy, does not align with your goal, then that same routine will put you in a tailspin. So all I'm asking you to do is look at the habits that you're working on, find the ones that are working for you, find the ones that are that certainly are aligned with your goals. If they're aligned with your goal, continue to build them. Find a cue to remind you to do it, and then find a reward system that says I want to reward myself for hitting this habit. But habits, for the most part, many of us, we do the same things over and over and over and over again. Are those things changing your life or putting you back to where you started? The quicker you add new healthy habits to your journey, the better off you're going to be long term. So, Anna, thank you again for driving down. It was awesome to see you during the race. I can't believe you made the, 5, 6, 7 hours or so drive for you. So you are the benchmark, let's say. That first race was cool because a couple of you drove for 8, 9 hours over, and I laugh now when I say I'm going to be in Philadelphia this weekend, and someone always says something, wow, Philadelphia, I'd love to meet you there, but it's an hour from my house. And I'm like, well, I'm coming from Indianapolis, and the first race we did, people came from 8, 9 hours away to be a part of this. So don't let the distance distract you. Don't let it get in your way. We'll see you in Philly, and we'll get it done. And of course, Anna, we'll see you in Atlanta next year. That's the plan. Next up, Nicole writes in. She says, well, hi, Mike. Hey, well, it's been a few months since I've written in. The last time I wrote in, I told you I'd send you an update when I hit my 25-pound loss. Well, that was May of this year. Why didn't I immediately email you and shout it from the rooftops? I've been asking myself that same question since May. It could be because I kept seeing myself as the woman who has had this weight and this food issue for as far back as I can remember. It might be because I didn't think that 25 pounds was worth celebrating. I couldn't figure it out why until now. I did as you suggested over the various podcasts. I sat down today and I put pen to paper. As I'm typing this, my reason for not writing in and my why flashes before my eyes. I didn't think that I was worth celebrating. Me, this person looking back at me in the mirror, I didn't think that I was worth it. Why? Because the life that shaped me as a young child, the life that time and time again failed to support me as an adolescent, the life that didn't play fair with abuse and poor decisions, told me that I wasn't. Life happened. And it's that life that I let derail me. Before my 10-year anniversary trip in June, I had lost a total of 35 pounds. I was so excited. I gave myself permission to enjoy my vacation and be free of tracking. I knew I would gain a couple pounds back, but I was steadfast in my resolve to get back on the scale and back on plan when we returned. Or so I thought. After we returned, I didn't track consistently for the last 2 months. I hardly tracked at all. I broke away from my tracker and my workout routine, and I gained back 5 pounds. I started feeling fat and lethargic, and I lacked motivation. Don't get me wrong, the time spent with family, friends, and my husband, and our entire 10-year anniversary trip, or the various birthdays, family weddings, the last 2 months, they were absolutely amazing. I wouldn't trade those memories for the world. But that life sat on my shoulder and said, see, you've come so far. You don't have to try anymore. You can just stop trying so hard. Just be happy that you lost 30 pounds. That life and that version of me, that's my why. I don't want that life anymore. I don't want that version of myself in that life anymore. It's toxic and deflating. I want this life and this version of me. I want the version of me that picked herself up off the ground, got back into her tracker, and got blue dots for the last 2 days. I want the version of me that got to the gym yesterday and pushed herself outside of her comfort zone. And I want the life that supports me and tells me that I can, and I undoubtedly will do this. That I will meet my goal and that I am worth it. That I am worth fighting tooth and nail for, and that I am worth the sweat and the effort. I want that life, that me, that is my why. So I'm celebrating. I'm celebrating losing 2 pounds last week and this week. I'm celebrating my blue dots. I'm celebrating this life and this me. And Mike, I celebrate you as well. Your words, your effort, your focus has given this life to this woman and pushed out the other one and pushed her out of the way. Thank you for that. I celebrate you by wishing you good focus until the next update. Nicole. And Nicole is MSGARESHCAKES on the Connect app. So Nicole, congratulations. You are absolutely worth it. You are building an amazing life. 25 pounds is incredible. You can't do that on accident. You can't put your mind to it and say, hey, you know what? I want to wake up tomorrow 25 pounds lighter. Not happening. You have to, day in, day out, remind you that you're worth it, remind you that your plan that you're working on is doable. That is how you lose 25 pounds. So many times, we see, on social media, we see folks who post, amazing transformation photos. And generally, the most dramatic photos are comparisons of people who've lost hundreds of pounds. 25 pounds is 400 ounces, Lee points out. So celebrate every single ounce because you worked your tail off to get to that point. But as we watch the dramatic transformation photos, what we don't truly understand is that every single ounce along the way is you changing your life, you figuring out the piece of your life that you're worth it, and you're going after and getting it. And so the change that happens internally is significantly more important than the change that happens externally. Externally is what the world sees. Externally is there for everyone else who you interact with to get a visual. But internally, when you make that change, and you make the change internally, you may be the only one that knows it, but boy, do you feel something completely different inside. And that's what you're after. I can sense in your email, that's where you're at. You're building this whole new life inside your own head, which is an amazing opportunity now for you to get some clarity and say, yeah, I actually did this. And so I'm glad you finally took the advice that I give. And I want to do a survey. I really wish I knew the answer. Of the thousands of people who listen to this, it's been downloaded, 2.3 million times, something like that. But of the million times I've said, and you've heard it, it's been said throughout the universe that write down your why. Write down why you're doing this. Man, I would venture to say that half of you haven't. So you heard it right here. If you write down your why, and you're going to hear it coming up in another email, but Nicole says is she finally put it to paper, and that's what made her go, oh, wait a minute, I get this. And so, wow, so you actually did this by writing it down. It brings some clarity to what you're going through, and you absolutely did it. Continue to look at that amazing person in the mirror and say, yeah, I'm worth this. I truly am. And I'm very proud of the part of your email where you went on vacation and you had a plan for your vacation. As we go through this process, it's very important to completely change our lives. We're doing this for ourselves first. Our family gets the benefit of having us around second. Being able to go on a vacation, on an anniversary celebration, and enjoy the moment is something that I really want all of us to do. There are many different ways to do it. You get to define what that means. So I'm not going to put a limit on it. I'm not going to put a framework around it. But the fact that you put a plan into action to go enjoy your family, enjoy your husband, all the various weddings and all that stuff, it was absolutely amazing. That is why you're doing all this. It doesn't do you any good to get to goal if you're going to, at that point be the only person left in living in solitary confinement. So continue to celebrate with your family, continue to live with them. This time, know that as you resolve to get back on the scale as quick as possible, knowing that is a danger zone for you, the next time you take advantage of that opportunity, have a different game plan going forward. Just recognize that, okay, what I tried to do last time was a great plan, perfect plan, not so perfectly executed. So now we work on, okay, how do we make the execution different? How do we do something different this time to get different results? That is how you continue to do all the amazing things that you're doing. You're absolutely worth a 25-pound weight loss. You're worth even more than that. You are worth every ounce of blood, sweat, and tears you put into this journey, because that internally has given you a new freedom internally. And I'm so proud to read about it and hear about it and celebrate with you. So keep up the amazing work. You got this. Let's continue to celebrate losing 2 pounds this week, next week. You're rocking it. Keep up the amazing work. Next up, out of Illinois, Jacob writes in and says, hi, Mike. Hey, as you know, I started my journey at 310-ish pounds years ago. I made it down to 190-ish, but I'm back up to 225. So after listening to episode 209 and being absolutely inspired by everyone, I decided to actually write down my whys. I always had them in the back of my head, but I still needed to see them written down on paper. Well, that's not an easy thing. Well, partly because my handwriting is horrible. I also use humor to deflect uncomfortable situations. Anyways, I basically wrote a letter to myself asking why. Why struggle with the journey? Why work so hard to become and stay healthy? It comes so easy to others. Maybe I'm just supposed to be like this. Well, at the end, I started my list, and some of them may have seemed cliche, but I needed to see them. As I listed them out, they started to become harder. However, it was my last why and my biggest one. It hit me so hard. It took my breath away, and I cried as my hand trembled writing it out. Because I'm worth it. It becomes very difficult to keep that in mind, to know that I am worth the fight, worth the battle, worth the struggles. Through it all, I am worth it. Thank you for all that you do, and thanks for listening. Your friend, Jacob. Dude, I am incredibly proud of you. thank you for writing this in. I had the opportunity, obviously, you know this, when you came to Indianapolis and let me know you're in town, and I made it a priority to go hang out with you because you're just an inspiring dude, and I wanted to pull off of some of your inspiration and just kind of, man to man, kind of just have this weight loss conversation, which I think is slightly different for some of us guys, even though it doesn't have a gender role, but you get where I'm going with that. But having the opportunity to just kind of sit with you and just kind of chat, I got to know you in a different sense than just simply through the email. And you're an incredible dude. You have an incredible family. Your children are awesome. We had a blast while you were in Indy, and so all that fun that we had, the time that we shared together, watching your wife complete a half marathon. All that happens because you're worth it, man. You're absolutely worth it. Your whole family is worth you being worth it. And so as you finally said, okay, I need to put this down on paper, it's exactly as I said, it happens. I encourage every single person to say, start writing it down. If you haven't written it down, it's twice in this one episode I've talked about writing your why down. If you haven't written down your why, I want you to do it right now. Because exactly what happened to Jacob, it happens to most every single one of us, is you start writing it down, and you start off with, because I want my clothes to fit, because I want to fit in whatever, because whatever, and you start writing down some seemingly simple things, and then as you start getting deeper into your list, it does become harder, and it forces the brain to dig a little deeper into the creative part of it and pull out things like, because I'm worth it. And very often when you get to that point in your journey, it brings tears. If it brings tears, then you know you're on track. And then now you have something to reread and revisit as you continue on the journey that you set out for yourself. I told you on episode 209 that you have two options. There's only two ways to get back to your starting point. And one of them is to go back to your starting point. The other is to read about it. And so I'd much rather have you read about your starting point than to ever have to go back and relive it. Putting this on paper gives you the opportunity that any day, any time, to say, I can tap into this mindset, this emotional mindset that's going to control the entire journey. I now have it on paper, so I don't ever have to relive it. I can just now live a healthy, happy life because you're worth it. You're absolutely worth it. And I'm sure, just like you, if you look at my paper, my handwriting is terrible too. I take notes all day long and I go back and reread them and I can't even read it. I have to-do lists that are pages long that I don't even have a clue what they say. And so I'm just hoping at some point someone reminds me that, hey, you remember you said you were going to do this? And I'm like, oh, that's what that note was. So I get the bad handwriting thing. But so even if your handwriting is terrible, we've now proven that you can celebrate regardless. So Jacob, Rob on Instagram says it's a powerful stuff, and I agree with it. Thanks for sharing your journey with us, and thanks for sharing the inner workings of what's going on internally. We're trying to change what we look like on the outside. We can't do that without starting on the inside. We have to build this all the way from the inside of our heart and slowly let it go out. And as it continues to expand, the outside of us contracts into that shell, and we're absolutely changing our life. But we do it from the inside. It starts with you writing down your story. It starts with you sharing your story. It starts with other people saying, "Hey, man, if he can do it, I can do it. If she can do it, I can do it." There's nothing in this process that is absolutely undoable. It's just doable. And when you finally figure it out, we celebrate. What is it that you're celebrating? Let's share it on the air. Go to fatdag.com, click on the Wise Advice Podcast link to send in your celebration. You can send an email in directly from the app. If you have the app, go right into the settings there, send an email. Certainly you can email in directly at onair@fatdag.com. Send in your comments, questions. I'll work them in as part of the show. I want you to email in your celebrations, and I want you to email in your story because I really want you to be proud of what you're doing. You heard in this episode more than once people who finally have taken the opportunity to put pen to paper and write their journey out completely changes everything about their journey. As they share that, as you can share it, as you sit here listening to other people's story, you're pulling out pieces that you can relate to. You're pulling out things in every single story. They go, oh, I get that. I understand that. We are a community of people who understand each other. That's why I want you to share it. It's very easy to go find people who don't understand us. Let's share this with the people who actually do understand us. And that's how we continue to build on each other and change our lives together. Well, that's going to do it for this time. Remember that losing weight and getting healthy has nothing to do with luck. You have to remain disciplined and focused. Set your sights on your goal and go after it. I wish you good focus. Thank you for listening to the Wise Advice Podcast. Did you know for as little as $1 a month, you can take the next step as a wingman and support the show? Visit fatdag.com, click on Become a Patron today.